Good dog.
Roger. This is B-Quad. Arriving shortly at LZ. This is B-Quad. On station at LZ. Departing.
Christmas Eve, 1979. The Soviet Union rolled into Afghanistan. Muslims had revolted against the Soviet-friendly regime established the year before. The DRA forces could no longer contain it themselves, so the Soviets went in to intervene. The Afghan government was powerless and fraught with infighting. They lost the hearts and minds of the people, and that alarmed the Soviet leadership. With the Islamic Revolution happening in Iran, the Soviets felt they had to act fast or risk the spread of Islamic revivalism. A superpower, sending a motorized rifle division against men on horseback with antique rifles. Everyone thought it'd be over in an instant, only it wasn't. Some Muslims made their fight a jihad, a holy war, and began a guerrilla campaign on all fronts. A war of attrition. These fighters call themselves mujahideen. They're being supported by the West through Pakistan. That's why Miller was involved. He was training them near the Zero Line, sponsored by the CIA. The war has become a nightmare for the Soviet troops stationed here. They thought they'd be headed home in 6 months at the most. Then a year passed. 2 years. Now here we are 4 years on with no exit in sight. Afghanistan has become the Soviet Union's Vietnam. The Soviet troops on the ground want to go home, but at least they have homes to go back to. The Afghans have lost theirs. The Soviets destroy the kishlaks, villages, wherever they can. They burn down homes and fields, fill in wells, turn pastures into minefields. It's created a mass of refugees who fled to Pakistan. If the Mujahideen are fish swimming around the villages, the Soviets will go so far as to dry out their ocean. But this has had a big price. There's bitter resentment among the Afghans, and they're taking out their anger on the soldiers on the front lines. Among the Mujahideen are the Pashtun people. They're fiercely devoted to their code of Badal, or revenge. Soviets they've captured have had their hands, feet, and noses cut off before being left to die at the side of the road, just to show their comrades what they're capable of. Friendlies who come across them can do nothing but put them out of their misery. Then they burn down another village in retaliation. And the cycle of vengeance goes on.
Awesome. Welcome back.
Roger. This is Pequot. Arriving shortly at LZ.
Good dog. Good dog.
This is Pequot. On station at LZ. Gaining altitude.
This war, the Kremlin never expected to have this much trouble against the Mujahideen. Afghanistan is a tribal society. Tradition demands that its people stand up to any outsiders who set foot on their land. With the honor of their people at stake, they have everything to fight for. No matter how hard the Soviets hit them, they continue to appear out of nowhere, striking back, then vanishing again. But there's one thing even the Mujahideen fear. Every last one of them. The Soviet gunships. They're highly maneuverable and equipped with massive firepower. Plus, the underside of the fuselage is heavily armored. The Mujahideen can barely scratch them with their small arms. Anyone who hangs around gets mowed down by the gunship's heavy machine guns. This new honeybee weapon that was given to the Hamid fighters, it's no doubt something to help them strike back against the gunships, which makes it a weapon that could change the course of the war. Those guerrilla fighters known as Mujahideen don't actually belong to a single organization. Afghanistan is a multi-ethnic country. You've got the Pashtuns, the Tajiks, Uzbeks, Hazaras, and each of them is split into their own tribes, large and small. Each ethnicity has several rebel organizations that their various tribes gather under. They're united under the banner of jihad, but that doesn't mean they work like a single standing army. Just look at the area around Smasi Fort. A lot of Tajiks used to live there, but they fled after the Soviets started their Scorched Earth campaign. With the area uninhabited, the Hamid fighters, who are Pashtun, decided to move in. The Hamids are based out of the city of Peshawar. We passed through it on the western edge of Pakistan. The Pashtun people have long lived in Afghanistan and western Pakistan. They used to travel back and forth frequently. Then Britain went and established the border that still stands today. The Hamid fighters get generous support from the Pakistani government. The government wants to use them to secure influence over Afghanistan. Their liaison with the Hamids is Inter-Services Intelligence, and behind the ISI, you have the CIA. That's probably how the honeybee ended up in the hands of the Hamid men.
Mission objective is to eliminate the PF commander they call the Major. One of the Major's subordinates working undercover with the CFA is due to make contact with him. Check his current location on your iDroid. Follow him, and he should lead you right to the Major.
Have a new assignment. Eliminate the commander of Rogue Coyote, one of the PFs operating in Africa. The target is simply the Major to his men. That's his rank from his army days. Instead of your typical boots on the ground work, He's more of a job broker and a recruiter. And apparently he also runs a little espionage operation on the side. Which could explain why he's picked up a long list of enemies. I don't like getting involved in a PF pissing match any more than you do. There's another reason we took this job. Recently, this guy's been talking about dealing in nuclear arms. Think back to the shipment that Cypher was having DRS transport. If we put the squeeze on this major, we might come out of it with some new intel on Cypher.
Stay on him.
Fire!
You gonna extract him? Snake, they're gonna notice something's up. No way the target will stick around for the meeting now. You'll just have to get the meeting point out of the Major's man. Not good. The target is trying to escape. Eliminate the target before he escapes.
Emergency report from the intel team. They spotted a chopper lifting off southwest of Kungenga Mine. It's got to be the target. Now your only choice is to take down that chopper.
Boss, the target has fled outside the mission area.
Your first job is to find the man you need to follow. Check your iDroid for his location and VI. If he sees you, they'll call off the meeting. Stay out of sight. Sergeant's man should be somewhere around there. Coming too. Roger that. You found him. Stay on him. Fix on the target, not even a predicted field of movement. All we have to go on is this meeting with his subordinate. Remember, this guy will call the meeting off if he thinks he's being tailed. You've got to do everything you can to stay out of sight. We have no fix on the target, not even a predicted field of movement. All we have to go on is this meeting with his subordinate. Remember, this guy will call the meeting off if he thinks he's being tailed. You've got to do everything you can to stay out of sight. His vehicle stopped. Is that where he's meeting the target? Switched vehicles, huh? You don't think he spotted you? That's an enemy gunship. A single burst from his machine gun could cut a man in half. Tread carefully, boss. That's the target.
Snake, are you okay? Snake!
We have no fix on the target, not even a predicted field of movement. All we have to go on is this meeting with his subordinate. Remember, this guy will call the meeting off if he thinks he's being tailed. You got to do switched vehicles, huh? You don't think he spotted you?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
That's an enemy gunship. A single burst from his machine gun could cut a man in half. Tread carefully, boss. That's the target. Looks like we found him.
is gereed om terugvoering te gee, majoor.
En gee my net die breedtrekker.
Die CFA kon nog nie vasstel hoe die huursoldate in Wallawamasa gesterf het nie. Al wat hulle kon kry was die plaaslike bevolking wat praat oor bose geeste.
Dis net so hulle is.
Aha, maar daar is gerugte dat jy die job van die hand gewys het omdat jy geweet het van die siekte. En nou is iemand besig om 'n vergeldingssquad saam te stel.
Van alle dinge. En ek maak soms my hande vuil. Maar ek's 'n engel in vergelyking met sommige van hierdie bliksems. Slawehandel. Reg onder hulle neuse en hulle wil my vervolg.
Maar ek's nie 'n voortrekker nie, maar jy's heeltemal reg. Nie een van ons verdien 'n prys op sy kop.
In elk geval, sê die res in 'n geskrewe verslag. Wat meer belangrik is jou volgende taak. ZRS probeer 'n ou man om die lewe bring. Dit het iets te doen met kernwapen. Maar ek het geen idee wie die ou man is nie.
Ek verstaan. Ek sal dit ondersoek. En kernwapens te ondersoek is, wel, dis 'n baie gevaarlike pad om te loop.
Ja, ek weet nie. Kan wees wat hierdie plek nodig het. Ek skrik maak tussen die lande. Kan baie bloedvergieting stop.
Jy dink Mobutu en die res sal die sin daarvan kan insien.
Maar miskien het hulle planne om die grootkoppe ook gelukkig te hou. Vir nou, vind uit waarmee ZRS besig is.
Ek begryp, meneer.
If you extract the target, he may give us some information about Cypher. The contract specifies we eliminate him. Doesn't say how. It's up to you, boss.
Boss, the target has fled outside the mission area.
We have no fix on the target, not even a predicted field of movement. All we have to go on is this meeting with his subordinate. Remember, this guy will call the meeting off if he thinks he's being tailed. You've got to do... Switched vehicles, huh? You don't think he spotted you? That's an enemy gunship. A single burst from his machine gun could cut a man in half. Tread carefully, boss. That's the target. Looks like we found him.
Ek is gereed om terugvoering te gee, majoor.
Ek gee my net die breedtrekker.
Die CFA kon nog nie vasstel hoe die huursoldate in algumas gesterf het. Al wat hulle kon kry was die plaaslike bevolking wat praat oor bose geeste.
Dis net so hulle is.
Aha. Maar daar is gerugte dat jy die job van die hand gewys het omdat jy geweet het van die siekte. En nou is iemand besig om vergeldingssquad saam te stel.
Van alle dinge. Ek maak soms my hande vuil. Maar ek's 'n engel in vergelyking met sommige van hierdie bliksels. Slawe aan. Reg onder hulle neuse en hulle wil my vervolg.
Maar ek's nie 'n voortrekker, maar jy's heeltemal reg. Nie een van ons verdien 'n prys op sy kop.
In elk geval, sê die res in 'n geskrewe verslag. Wat meer belangrik is jou volgende taak. ZRS probeer 'n ou man om die lewe bring. Dit het iets te doen met kernwapen. Maar ek het geen idee wie die ou man is nie.
Ek verstaan. Ek sal dit ondersoek. Die kernwapens te ondersoek is, wel, dis 'n baie gevaarlike pad om te loop.
Ja, ek weet nie. Kan wees wat hierdie plek nodig het. 'n Bietjie skrik maak tussen die lande. Kan baie bloedvergieting stop.
Jy dink Maputo. En die res sal die sin daarvan kan insien.
Maar miskien het hulle planne om die groot koppe ook gelukkig te hou. Vir nou, vind uit waarmee ZRS besig is.
Ek begryp nie.
Hey, quit kidding around. Snake?
Snake!
We have no fix on the target, not even a predicted field of movement. All we have to go on is this meeting with his subordinate. Remember, this guy will call the meeting off if he thinks he's being tailed.
Switched vehicles, huh? You don't think he spotted you?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
That's an enemy gunship. A single burst from his machine gun can cut a man in half. Tread carefully, boss. That's the target.
Snake, talk to me! Snake! Snake!
We have no fix on the target, not even a predicted field of movement. All we have to go on is this meeting with his subordinate. Remember, this guy will call the meeting off if he thinks he's being tailed. Switched vehicles, huh? You don't think he spotted you?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
That's an enemy gunship. A single burst from his machine gun can cut a man in half. Tread carefully, boss. Boss, what about the intel he had? No use arguing about it now. Contract objective complete.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
That's it. You've made it out of the hot zone. No sign of the enemy. Mission complete, boss. Mission complete. Great work. Boss, about those walker gears spreading all over Africa. Huey's got an idea for a counter-weapon. Come on back to base.
This. It's a variable, multi-legged tank. A spin-off of Metal Gear technology.
Big fan of spin-offs, isn't he? I hear he borrowed from the Soviets in Costa Rica, too.
The design allows for a lot of freedom in setups. It's based around a central core unit, so you can quickly reconfigure the hardware to suit any sort of mission parameters.
What the good doctor's trying to say is that it's customizable.
Naturally, it will raise the probability of success for standard missions. But it functions as an improved deterrent by increasing your preemptive strike capability against enemy elements. You just deploy it in a war zone, and its superior firepower puts the brakes on enemy attacks. Eventually, the whole war machine grinds to a halt. A true battle gear!
Cause I'm having deja vu here.
I don't like him any more than you. But we need this.
You think it'll cut it in the field?
Turning radius is better than any tanks. That's great for regional skirmishes. Tech like this is popping up all among the PFs. Best way to deal with them is to fight fire with fire.
I'll await your instructions then, boss.
So do we have your approval to commence development?
Fine.
Consider yourself off the chopping block, Doctor.
Boss, welcome back.
I had the R&D team analyze the honeybee. How? The CIA wanted it with everything intact. They took it apart to look at it. Then they put it back together.
Roger.
Everything intact. That's the R&D boys, all right. Turns out the honeybee's homing capabilities are a cut above previous manpads. It can detect a broad range of infrared wavelengths, and even ultraviolet for supplementary guidance. Hence the name, huh? Right. Honeybees rely on UV light to fly. With this device, flares don't do the target any good. That's why the Soviets are losing so many gunships, and why the CIA was so desperate to get it back. It wasn't just about preventing the Soviets from devising countermeasures. What if the likes of Iran got their hands on it? American aircraft would be put at risk too. We can use this tech to develop our own portable missile. That'll give us a huge advantage. It'll take a little time before the analysis results can be applied to actual implementation. But we'll keep moving with the research.
I know you're an expert when it comes to solo infiltrations, but now you have buddies who will fight alongside you. Use your iDroid to deploy them whenever you like. The role of your buddies is to support you during missions. There's more than one way for them to do that. To get the most out of a buddy's abilities, you need to give the right order for the situation. This mission has two objectives. Eliminate the Colonel scheduled to take up a post at Smasi Fort, and stop the deployment of his tank unit. Your first move should be to head to Sakai village and search for the Colonel and his deployment plans.
We were lucky to get our hands on that cyborg arm developer. There's no one in Diamond Dogs who can so much as maintain that thing.
Bionic arm, not cyborg, if you go by what he calls it. But you're right, the East is light years ahead in bionics. They can even detect through the skin the slight electrical signals from the brain that order muscles to move. The Soviet Union completed their first bionic arm capable of doing that back in the 60s. Although I guess that news didn't really reach the West.
No kidding. Zadornov's was the only one I ever saw. Quite a shock to see it for the first time.
And it was no mean feat to get hold of Snake's arm. I couldn't get one for you at the time, but you know, now...
Forget it. I've no intention of relying on bionics. Right now I need to keep the pain fresh in my mind.
Well, it's your decision. But don't you find it... inconvenient?
Not a bit. But the phantom pain, it never lets up. Do you know how many men I saw die that day? There's nothing we can do to bring them back. And you expect me to care about getting a measly arm and leg back? Sorry. But my pain belongs to all our dead comrades. I'll keep living with it for their sake. It'll guide me straight and true until I've gotten them the vengeance they deserve.
He's coming too. Roger that. Extract him.
Where are your friends?
Subject is in.
Speak. Where are your friends?
The Soviet tank. If you could steal that, nothing could stop you. But make a wrong move, and it'll chew you up. Subject on board. Leave the rest to us. He's coming too. Roger that.
Разбитый потерял визуальный контакт. Перемещаюсь по следующей позиции. Прием. Это КП, понял. Обследуйте сектор. Но осторожно. Конец связи.
Dude!
Subject on board. Leave the rest to us. Boss, that document you just got is the deployment plans for the Smasi Fort reinforcements. According to the plans, the Colonel is supposed to join up with a tank unit at Waksin Barracks and then proceed to Smasi Fort. Those tanks being on the move doesn't make things easy. Hurry, boss. I've sent the tank unit's route to your iDroid. way. Just one tank left.
У нас проблема. Тревога по всем постам.
That looks like the target. Good work. Good. You've completed the objective. Now get out of there. Exfiltrate out of the hot zone by chopper or on land. You destroyed their anti-air radar? It wasn't one of the targets, but that's put a hole in their air surveillance. The chopper will be able to get in close now. You can designate a landing zone near the outpost.
This is B-Quad. Arriving shortly at LZ. This is B-Quad. On station at LZ. Gaining altitude. Departing.
Mission complete. Great work. 6 targets. Our contract is to kill them all. And the client is the general they served under. He wants them dead to keep them from talking. Check a VI on your iDroid for more information.
Said the number of private forces is increasing, and they've modeled themselves after us.
They're a far cry from the likes of us.
But why? 9 years ago we made enemies of the world as a nuclear-equipped force, independent of ideology or state.
Yes. Sooner or later the real UN would have stepped in.
So why are they giving these PFs free rein?
That's our fault too.
What do you mean?
What happened 9 years ago was a real problem for a lot of people. An organization as big as ours, with our facilities, was wiped off the map. Not an easy thing to hide. But if our existence came to light, so would the names of our clients. We had contracts all over, east and west, from superpowers to banana republics, the lot. Our clients denied all association with the likes of us. They had to make sure things didn't blow up on them. But at the same time, they missed us. They really missed us. The demand for armies for hire was as strong as ever. The international community turned a blind eye to what happened to us, despite still needing people who could do our jobs. History couldn't afford to lose us. As soon as we were gone, they needed a replacement. So private forces spread everywhere. And they're all just a phone call away.
But still.
I know. PFs are totally different from what we envisioned. Nation-states, revolutionaries, terrorists. They have a lot of clients. And Cypher is one of them. Cypher stays anonymous.
That's from Heavy Plantation.
I know their work when I
The targets are mixed in with the soldiers in that base. Use the VI to identify them.
The clients don't have to worry about losing their own men. Nobody knows they're involved. And PFs are cheap. In short, the world is chewing up soldiers and spitting them out. Even some of the old Mother Base's survivors are still working for PFs. Some guys created their own smaller forces. Others were taken on by emerging PFs. Everybody's gone their separate ways. But none of them are living their dream, because they're not fighting with you. Of course, I tried to headhunt as many of them as I could for Diamond Dogs. It was all a waste of time. They said they weren't interested without you to lead them, but now you're back. And everything's gonna change. We'll unite all private forces under you, transcending nations and economies. What is a nation? Just a patch of dirt. The bonds among us will surpass nations, and that's what'll put the world under our control. We'll establish a new kind of country, redefine the very concept of it. Even Cypher will be below us, an extraterritorial federation of military nations, the United States of Force. Once word of Big Boss's return starts traveling, that'll be our true deterrent against Cypher.
That's African Peach. The shape of its petals gives it the nickname the pincushion. It's used in local traditional medicine as a pain reliever and tranquilizer.
But those PFs revere you.
That's an enemy gunship. A single burst from its machine gun can cut a man in half. Tread carefully, boss.
Maybe they'd even go looking for revenge, but they definitely wouldn't keep doing Cypher's dirty work. even if it put their lives at stake. That's why it's no longer a benefit to Cypher to get rid of you. The very fact that you're alive is our greatest defense against Cypher.
Nice to know. It'll buy us some time while we get back to full strength.
Just keep in mind that what I'm saying is generalizing a lot. In practice, the PFs around the world don't know your face. Just declaring that you're big boss won't be enough to convince them. And if they see you as an enemy, they'll come at you with everything they've got.
Some hero.
That's why you need to bring them back to Mother Base. Show them on your terms that you really are the one and only big boss. Once you've proven that, they won't hesitate to join us.
He's coming too. Roger that.
You okay?
You gotta extract him. Their anti-air radar? It wasn't one of the targets, but that's put a hole in their air surveillance. The chopper will be able to get in close now. You can designate a landing zone near the outpost. Why not interrogate the enemy? We might learn where the target is. subject on board. Leave the rest to us.
Delta 9. Hulpbron is weg. Daar's moeilike inbreke. Moet die ondersoek. Oor. Dit is CP, begryp. Verdere verlies is onaanvaarbaar. Hou julle oor oop. Uit.
Is that the target?
Speak. Where are your friends?
What are you planning on doing, boss? Putting the target to sleep doesn't count as eliminating them. Neither does knocking them out. Extracting the target. Our contract was to kill the target, but I'll go with your decision. 5 targets remaining. Head for the Kurgenga mine.
Diamond Dog's intel team specializes in information gathering, mainly HUMINT and SIGINT.
They plant scouts and moles in the field. These operatives will blend into the local populace and work under the guise of a resident, or disguise themselves as travelers and ask around for information. They observe targets using various hidden bugs, cameras, and transmitters, and by tapping their satellite and phone communications. Analyzing all this information creates a clear picture of how wars and the PFs fighting them are changing. This data can also be used for threat assessment when deciding whether to accept contracts from certain clients. And during missions, the intel team keeps track of target locations and produces FOM predictions, reporting mission-critical information based on real-time remote observation of changes in the AO. What you hear from us over the radio is based on how we interpret the data gathered at the command platform. However, intel team operatives go unarmed in almost all situations to avoid revealing themselves to the enemy. Some will carry a knife, but most have nothing at all. As such, don't expect them to help you take on heavily armed adversaries like PF soldiers. Think of them as entirely passive in the hot zone. Plus, they use all manner of techniques to remain inconspicuous in the field. If you ever spot one, you'll have some serious explaining to do. So remember, their specialty is espionage. They may not be of use in a firefight, but when it comes to intel, they're pros. Targets are being held captive at that outpost. The VI on your iDroid will show you where they are.
Spit it out. Where are the others?
Subject on board. Leave the rest to us.
Hou julle oë oop. Uit.
Dumpster. Looks big enough to hide somebody. You could stash a downed enemy in there, or hide in it yourself. Just don't stand too close to me afterward.
CP, dat is Delta 9. Sommige toeristen is vernietigd. Lijkt soos die werk van die vijand. Oor. Dat is CP, begrijp. Beweeg met onderzoek. Zo gauw als mogelijk. Uit.
Coming too. Roger that. Extract him.
Civilis Delta 2. Iemand is pas met de ballon weggetrekt. Waarschijnlijk een indringer. Bijstand alsjeblieft. Oor. Dat is CP, begrijp. Bescherm securiteit en punt die indringer. Uit. Delta 2. Delta 2, wat goed. Kom in Delta 2. Wat is de situatie? Alle eenheden, staan bij.
Subject on board. Leave the rest to us.
begrijp. Wees op je uitkijk voor enige beweging. Uit. Zit in de Zulu 1. Die vijand is weggekomen. Ons gaan hem nou zoeken. Oor. Er is CP, begrijp. Hulle kon niet weggekomen is nie. Blijf waakzaam. Uit. HK. De CP. Ons het die vijand ingetrek, maar contact verloren na het kruisvuur. Vijand kan nog iewers daarbij wegkruip. Adviseer waakzaamheid.
It's too dangerous to try and contact the target. Wait for the enemy to stand down.
HK, kom in. HK, de CP. HK, reageer. HK, de CP. Ons het die vijand ingetrek, maar contact verloren na het kruisvuur. Vijand kan nog iewers daarbij wegkruip. Adviseer waakzaamheid. HK, de CP, kom in. HK, kom in. HK, de CP. HK, reageer.
The enemy's trying to take you out. Contact the target later. The enemy's trying to take you out. Contact the target later. Enemy's trying to take you out. Contact the target later. He's coming too. Roger that. Their lives for a fistful of diamonds, huh? And what happens after that? They can't go home. They've only got two options. Heaven or hell.
No, there's another.
Utter heaven. Tape's rolling, boss.
How about it, Cause? Looks like our client just got outbid.
We got the recording. Objective accomplished.
Let's go.
We'll bring him back to Mother Base. Now, for the RV. There's some high ground downriver. I'll have the chopper set down there. Lead the kids to safety. Listen, the kids don't get hurt. No matter what, you bring them back alive. Exit the cave and turn left, then pass through the swamp and follow the river downstream. Doesn't look like he can walk. You still gonna help him? Boss, if even one of those kids die, the mission's a failure. Be careful.
Fire!
Wait, you're those kids' only support out there. You need to give them orders. Lead them to the objective area. But they won't hear you if you're too far away from them.
Fire!
Keep that in mind. They won't hear you if you're too far away from them.
Let's go.
They won't hear you if you're too far away from them.
Stop!
Fire! Fire! Fire!
won't hear you if you're too far away from them.
Stop. Let's go. Wait. Now. They won't hear you if you're too far away from them. Wait!